Hello everyone. This video will begin from the topic sources of constitution. In the previous video we have started this chapter and we saw that the drafting committee and constituent assembly was made, right? And then now I will start that what were the sources of Indian constitution. As we know that Indian system of framing the constitution, the principles or provisions of Indian constitution were borrowed from the constitutions of different countries of the world. Their principles were borrowed and that was written in our own constitution. So that's why it took nearly 2 years to get this rule book complete. The framers of Indian constitution, that is the Constituent Assembly, drew upon three sources to draft the constitution. The first source was the foundation document or the base text, the Government of India Act of 1935, which was passed by Parliament in London. That means it was a British Parliament Act. Debates were done regarding the passing of this act in British Parliament in London, because at that time Britishers were still ruling over us, and this act brought about major changes in the manner in which Indian governance system was organized at that time and also after India got independence. And this was a very important act. We read it before also, I guess, that this was the main source of the document of Indian constitution. That's why in the three sources which were given by the Indian constitution makers, they said in the first source was the Government of India Act of 1935. This act was the basis for government and was in force in India from 1935 until 1950, when Indian constitution was adopted. So starting from 1935 to 1950, till Indian constitution was framed, it was complete and it was adopted in India, and then after 2 years or so, first general elections were held in independent India. Salient features of 1935 Act were it provided for a parliamentary system, but ultimate power was kept with the British. Obviously, if they are ruling over us, why would they give the power to us? The supreme and ultimate power will not be provided to us at any cost, right? So it provided for a parliamentary system, that there will be parliament in India where the acts will be passed from there, but then to the absolute and ultimate power was still with the Britishers. Included a wide-ranging administrative aspects for structure of government. As I said, this act was the major one and it brought about major changes in the way Indian administration system was carried on. So it brought about various changes in administrative arena and it changed the structure of government. It created a centralized federal system, provided for elections to provincial legislatures or assemblies. So since this act has its own significance, so you have to remember what salient features it carry. The second source was constitutions of other countries. They were used mostly with respect to two chapters of constitution, namely fundamental rights and DPSPs. So we borrowed various things: judicial review, parliamentary system, all these things we have borrowed from various constitutions of different countries, and so that became the second main source of our constitution. Fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSPs, that is the main part that we have borrowed. Fundamental rights largely deal with civil and political rights of citizens. Right to life, freedom of speech. You know what all fundamental rights are, how many fundamental rights are there in India, what all carry. You have a general idea of all these things that you may have studied in your earlier classes in civics. The third source was Objectives Resolution, adopted in December 1949 Assembly session. Constitution derived its spirit from this source. What was the third source? Objectives Resolution. And let's see what this thing is. The Objectives Resolution laid down the philosophy and constitution expressed it through many lengthy and detailed provisions. Means what kind of philosophy or what kind of study should be done of the constitution, what all provisions should be included, how they must be elaborated, how they must be given, so that people can interpret it and understand it easily. For that, detailed and lengthy provisions or principles, as you know that elaborated provisions are mentioned to make everything crystal clear. Jawaharlal Nehru, first PM of India, had drafted the objectives resolution drawing upon the Congress party documents of previous 2 decades. So remember that who had drafted the objectives resolution? Jawaharlal Nehru. The objectives resolution called for integrity of Indian Union and that its authority and power were derived from Indian people. It stated that all people should be secured with regards to justice, social, economic, political, equality of status, opportunity, and before law, freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship, vocation, association, and action subject to law and public morality. So all these things were given in the objectives resolution, which was drafted by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the first Prime Minister of independent India. And this basically aim of objectives resolution is to indicate or to call for unity and integrity of India as a nation, and the absolute authority is within the hands of Indian subjects or Indian people only, because they will elect the people when elections will be held. Elections provision was also given in this constitution, and from that election only the first Prime Minister of India was elected, right? So the main authority was with the common public, not with the government. This was according to the objectives resolution. And it also stated that people should be given, they must be given protection or security of justice, that everybody will be provided equal justice, social, political, economic equality will be there, of status, everybody will be considered equal as per the status, no differentiation would be done, no classes will be divided among the society as it was done in the ancient time. अपर क्लास, लोअर क्लास, ऐसे होता था ना कि पंडित ऊंचे कास्ट के हैं उनको अपर क्लास माना जाता था. इंडिया में नोबल्स, क्लर्गी वगैरह नहीं थे, तो पंडित या जो जो पंडित बहुत ज़्यादा पूजा करने वाले थे उनको अपर कास्ट मांगते थे. जो लोअर कास्ट या अनटचेबल्स थे उनको बहुत ही लोअर माना जाता था. उनको जो अपर क्लास चीज़ें यूज़ कर रहे हैं उसको वो चीज़ यूज़ करने नहीं दी जाती थी. सो इस टाइप का डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं होगा. इक्वल जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी, एजुकेशन अपॉर्चुनिटी, हर चीज़ इक्वालिटी से दी जाएगी. इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन होगी लॉ की, सबको इक्वल राइट मिलेगा कि वो लीगल एड ले सकें, अपने आप को रिप्रेजेंट कर सकें थ्रू अ लीगल प्रैक्टिशनर इन द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. थॉट एक्सप्रेशन, जो भी वो चाह रहे हैं, वॉट एवर दे वॉन्ट दे कैन थिंक, दे हैव फुल फ्रीडम ऑफ दैट. वॉट एवर दे आर थिंकिंग दे कैन एक्सप्रेस इट इन ओरल और रिटन फॉर्म. दे कैन प्रैक्टिस और दे कैन बिलीव इन एनी रिलीजन, दे कैन प्रैक्टिस एनी रिलीजन, दे कैन वर्शिप एनी गॉड, any religion they can profess, and they can form an association, they can move to any part of India freely, right? They have a freedom to select whatever occupation they want to take to survive, whatever kind of livelihood they want to take up. And but the condition was that public morality, public law and order situation should be maintained. You are not supposed to do something that will affect the harmony and law and order situation of the society, or that will adversely affect the situation. Like in class we say that you are allowed to talk softly, but you may not disturb the other classes, right? So similarly, you are given some freedoms subject to law, right? And you have to respect the law, you have to abide by the rules and regulations of the country, and you should maintain public morality. Your act should not be organized in a manner that would result in affecting the society in an adverse manner. Are you getting my point? Furthermore, Objectives resolution provided for adequate safeguards for minorities, depressed, backward classes, and underdeveloped and tribal areas. As I said, that lower class people were not allowed to enter into the public places that were used by the upper classes. So this type of discrimination should be eliminated. That was also the thought of constitution makers and the government that came ahead. So this objectives resolution provided safeguards for the backward, socially or financially backward classes of the society, to uplift them, to bring them at par with the upper classes. There were some provisions made in the constitution also, and some provisions which were provided by the forecoming governments. Objectives resolution can be summarized to consist of three interdependent salient features: protecting and enhancing national unity and integrity, that we read. It was to unite and integrate India as a nation, because after we got independence, it was important that we are integrated, we are united, and there may not be any other country that would come and divide and rule over us, because Britishers adopted the policy of divide and rule, right? Everybody knows this, I guess. They saw that we were not, there was some sort of unity feeling missing amongst us, because of which various religious sects people, they were fighting, or they had some points of differences among them, जिसका बेनिफिट ब्रिटिशर्स ने खूब अच्छी तरीके से उठाया, और वो हम पर 200 साल तक दे रूल्ड ओवर अस. सो इन सब चीज़ों को अवॉइड करने के लिए, आगे फिर से ऐसे कोई सिचुएशन ना हो जाए, इसीलिए इंडिया को यूनाइटेड रहना होगा विदाउट एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ डिफरेंसेस. So that was the basis of objective resolution. Establishing institution and spirit of democracy. It stated that people have the authority, right? And democracy is something which ensures government of the people, or the authority of the people. So indirectly, the objectives resolution was establishing and strengthening the spirit of democracy in India. Promoting a social revolution for betterment of citizens, because if you are ensuring certain kind of safeguards which were mentioned hereby, then you are providing a revolution or a betterment condition for the citizens of the country. Then, description of Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution was adopted on Jan 26, 1950. It consists of a preamble, 395 articles and 12 schedules. Please be updated. Check out how many articles, how many amendments, how many schedules, how many parts Indian Constitution has till date. Preamble is the introductory statement. As we know, if there is a book, index is its introductory part, what all is contained in the book, that is given in the contents section or the index section of the book. So similarly, what all is given in the Constitution as a book, that is given in the index part of it, which is known as preamble. Articles are provisions or rules, and schedules are like the annexures providing details on specific issues. So you see, what is article? The rules. Like we read article 24, article 22. So these are rules कि इसके मुताबिक ये चीज़ होनी चाहिए. Like article 19, freedom to travel anywhere in India, freedom to reside in any part of India, and to carry on any profession of your choice. So that is something, some provision or some rule or some protection that is given to you or the common public. Schedules are the annexures. If you have seen in geography book, as far as I remember, in NCERT geography books, or any other book also maybe, some annexures are provided at the back of the book, at the last. So that is on a particular topic, like if it is literacy rate, so regarding that some annexures are provided. This state of India, this much percentage of literacy rate, and that covers all the states with their respective literacy rates. This was just an example. So annexures are a detailed information on a particular topic. Constitution is detailed, lengthy, covers the entire nation and central government, and has uniform provisions for all the state governments. So yes, Constitution is detailed. It is a rule book that is applied on each and every citizen of India, on the central government, on each and every state government, on the entire nation. It has its jurisdiction. Provisions for both central and state governments are consistent and based on parliamentary systems, because we took the parliamentary system of government. President is head of the state. President appoints governors in each state. Head of the state means head of the country is president, and head of the state is governor, okay, which is appointed by president. Then preamble I will take in the next video.